So Zoe and whole cake, well, a chunk of whole cake, it is
A chunk of the cake.
a, a slice, one might say. It is my great shame that all of these years of hearing you talk about Whole Cake Island, it didn't occur to me that the first part wasn't like haul, as in like a haul of a ship. It was whole, as in a whole ass cake.
Oh, wait, you thought I was saying whole cake island this whole time?
Yes, because that's how you say it.
I say whole, bro. Whole
No.
and hull are two different words.
You do not say 2004's kids TV like movie holes. You say hull.
I do, personally?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like it sounds different, but also that's my voice, so.
Alternatively, I could just be projecting to cover my shame. Did you know? Do you know what a colic is?
A what?
Yeah, you probably don't, because apparently it's cowlick.
Yeah, I know what a cowlick is, yeah.
Yeah, no. Growing up in North Carolina, people just called it a colic. And nobody bothered to write it down ever, so I didn't know until I was like 22 that it was a cowlick.
That's pretty funny.
Anyway, Cowlick Island. No.
But anyway, if it was called Whole Cake Island, what did you think it was going to be in? Like just a giant ship?
I just thought it was a strange Oda adjective.
Yeah,
it
fair.
seemed like a choice, and you know what? It's not the most objectionable Oda choice that I personally believe exists.
What's the most objectionable then?
Oh God. Okay, that's a good question.
Well, I mean, are we talking about naming conventions here?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, I thought we were just talking naming conventions.
Is the name that I'm most upset with. I don't know if I'm upset with that many names.
Yeah,
I do think that it's a pretty interesting disparity because some people are just Johnny, but
fair.
there is like a decent
Yeah,
diversity in the nations, so it makes sense. At least until you get to them, in which case all islands pretty much boil down to here's a bunch of people that aren't going to say anything, but look at this one cool geographical feature. Or in the case of whole cake, look at how each of these islands are edible in different ways.
yeah. Well, it's all about making the world feel lived in.
But the thing is, though, right? If the world is going to feel lived in, there should be more ants.
More ants?
More ants, because there are giant ants on the syrup portion of the sea that come out when the syrup freezes at night. All of Big Mom's territory, the Tontalands or Totalidada, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I think it's Tataland.
Teotihuacan.
Tataland.
It should be crawling in ants perpetually.
Oh yeah, just because it's all sugar.
It's all sugar. They're on Chocolate Island.
Yeah, that's fair. You briefly mentioned just like here's a bunch of people that aren't going to say anything. That's basically what Zoe is in a way.
Yeah, man, the minks got shafted super you don't hear about them until like the volume before. And Trafalgar's like, well, they have this reputation of being man-eating cannibals. First of all, it's not cannibalism if they're not men. Duh. If a lion eats you, that's not cannibalism. That's just lying. Although it does raise an interesting question as to how the term cannibal applies to sapients rather than like species. It's not something that we have to think about in real life because, thank Christ, humans are the only sapient thing. Well, I don't know. Monkeys get close.
I mean,
monkeys
yeah.
Monkeys make me uncomfortable because they're too close.
That's a long debate that you could.
Monkeys wage war with spears.
But the minks are pretty interesting. I mean, they're just kind of. It's not like the first time we've ever been introduced to them. Like we learned that Beppo, who is
Beppo?
Beppo is Law's like secondhand man, the polar bear guy.
Yeah.
He's a mink, and then we also learned that Peckhams, we had kind of briefly seen here and there prior to Whole Cake Island, is also a mink. Obviously you didn't know that in the moment,
Right?
but it's nice to see that. I like Whole Cake Island for like two, or not. I meant Zoe. I like Zoe for two particular reasons, and it mostly just boils down to I like the plot twist. If you would call it a plot twist, I would call it a plot twist. And then I also like that it kind of sets, I feel like, the tone for the end of the series, or at least just like what the final goal is in a way,
Right.
But the plot twist that I'm talking about is the Rhizo stuff, like the ninja stuff.
I feel some sort of way about that. Like, come on, an entire nation and not one person is willing to sell him out. Come on. You're actively being crucified and tortured. Are you saying Christ was just a pussy? Like, come on now. There were women and children. Let me raise it. There were children who were not spared the torture. I will say my favorite part about Zoe is there's an image where Wanda, the definitely not hentai bait dog woman, looks to the camera and says, the person who brought all of this destruction to our land is Jack. I found that so funny for me personally.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Good old Jackie, mate. I loved that. But like the minks are like set up as like, oh, they're these incredible fighters and they're man eaters and they're so scary and like xenophobic, and then you show up and they're just really physically touchy people, right? Like,
yeah, I guess does Oda really go into why they had that reputation, or was it just racism?
It's kind of like racism, like they're fierce, so people say it, but
yeah,
it's also because they live on the back of a moving elephant.
They're not present. Like, people don't see them on a regular basis. Yeah. Like, minks are fairly uncommon, which makes sense.
Do you know that the trading of clothes is considered a very big sign of trust in their society? Which is why Wanda, the hentai bait dog, was wearing Nami's clothing. And it's also why she's putting on Nami's very revealing dress later.
Yeah.
It doesn't explain why she's licking everybody all of the time. She does say because all of the dog minks are like really here for Brooke. And by here for, I mean they nibble on him constantly. Like, Brooke was living in hell for a week, which I think is actually very befitting. But there's a bit where Wanda strikes up that like pose with the caption, "We dog minks can't resist a good bone," and then like a heart at the end of the sentence. And it's like, ooh, yeah, Oda-chan. Like, ooh, Oda-sama senpai-kun, you are laying it on thick. Especially with Carrot constantly nibbling on Luffy's ear like she's trying to drag him back to bed.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
goddamn.
It's definitely a choice, to say the least. But the Rhizo stuff, though, like, how do you feel? Like, I know you just said, how did not like a single person like tell? Somebody
should have.
Like, I guess I don't recall. Tapped. You like just read it. Do they ever discuss whether like only the higher ups actually knew where he was?
Well, when he came out of it, so it isn't just a matter of nobody knew where he was. It's people were saying he is not here.
Exactly. But so, like, did everyone? Did they ever Did they specifically
people
say
on
that,
the street saw Rhizo after they let him out of where they had the poneglyph?
Oh,
and they were like,
"Hey!"
Okay, yeah. So kind of the implication is that a large chunk of people, if not everybody, knew that he was there. But it's because the mink people are loyal to the clan, that
the Kazuki clan, yeah.
Which turns out, shitty little boy is the new like heir apparent of because his dad got murked by Kaido in the current Shogun.
Yeah. Momonosuke is a little unfortunate.
Momonosuke sucks ass.
And honestly, he's like one of the biggest reasons why I was just so unmotivated to care
tell me
for
that.
the characters in Wano.
I was about to say, obviously Wano's going to be largely his arc, but don't tell me Wano is largely his arc.
It is, unfortunately.
God damn it.
Wano will be a whole conversation when we get there, bro. There's gonna be so much.
Like, so for example, shitty little boy spent the week locked up in his room because he was feeling mopey, but also he knows who he is.
Yeah.
And so we spend like half a volume with the Straw Hats going, oh God, samurai and people of Wano, the concept of it has brought so much pain to this island. Let's hide Kainmon and the painting dude.
Yeah.
Oh no. And like there's this big, we can't let them in. And then like
there's a lot of context there. I do like thinking about it now. I think Zoe kind of becomes better in hindsight once you have more like major reveals during Wano. But
maybe it does, but I still don't get why Mononoke didn't just tell the people of Zoe beforehand.
Like who he was?
Right. Before
Yeah.
Kaidmon got there, because he had the Straw Hats there, and he obviously knows that they're bros with his clan, right? Because that's why he drops his name to get them to get Dogman and Catman to stop fighting. He drops his name because he obviously remembers them, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's one of those situations where like we have like 2 or 3 chapters worth of drama that's just because people don't communicate. All in all, Zoe's kind of whatever because it is just such a stop-off island. We are introduced to red poneglyphs, which
that's what I mentioned earlier.
well, I guess technically they're road poneglyphs, but they just so happen to be red.
Yeah.
Which is I don't know. It's always funny to me in a black and white media where people are like, oh, this is a special red version. And it's like, okay, but it's drawn like the other version. What colors were the other versions? Because this is the first time that you mentioned it. Have I been looking at like Greystone? Or are we looking at like a nice auburn? Like,
yeah, it was gray. Oh, the last thing I wanted to say on the Raizo thing is I think that like when I was originally watching it, like this was like right when I was getting caught up in the anime. Like this arc was like the exact time. Like I got caught up at like the end of Dressrosa. And I think for me, you know, say what you will about the writing of it and how Oda like, you know, kind of has to have this suspension of disbelief that these people managed to keep Raizo hidden the whole time, but like he straight up convinced me. Like I was like, oh yeah, none of these people know, and that was the thing. Yeah. Like I was like so convinced. I was like, yeah, they've literally all been saying it. There's no way Raizo's here, and then like the big reveal with Raizo being there, like that was pretty awesome in my opinion.
Yeah, no, like that was a very good moment because at first you think it's just like a way to underscore the brutality of Jack and just sort of the relentless Kaido, like we don't care about life. And then you realize that they were right.
Yeah.
Which also means that they were doing it because they really trust their information. But like the actual reveal itself wasn't bad.
That's fair, yeah.
But
that's all I wanted to say. Because I need to get my love of One Piece out there, bro.
It's fair.
But it's crazy to think, though, that we're finally talking about the arc where I got caught up in the anime. Like this, like I didn't start reading the manga until like the final fight of Whole Cake Island. So we're like basically it's baffling to think that I watched like 800 plus episodes of anime to get to this point.
Oh, couldn't be me. Could you have? Oh God,
I mean, honestly, like I'm just glad that you're reading the manga and not watching the anime.
I am too. I might have said it on this podcast before, but my buddy has been watching through One Piece. And he says he doesn't read through One Piece because he can't bring himself to read each chapter. And I say I don't watch One Piece because I can't bring myself to watch each episode.
I mean, truthfully, though, I think One Piece, if whichever way you choose to approach it, like, I think the strong suit of One Piece is that it's a compelling enough story that it can keep you interested. Because honestly, that's the only reason I kept watching the anime. I mean, granted, at the time I was not as focused on visuals. Like, I feel like I didn't really start critically thinking about anime until like after I got caught up in One Piece. But when I look back at it, I'm like, that is atrocious. There is a lot of it that is absolutely awful to look at. But since I hadn't read the manga, I genuinely think that the thing that just kept me going was like wanting to know what happened next, you know?
Right.
But it's like now that I read the manga, like even when I just go to watch the anime to like see the new arc, you know, because I'm excited about the new arc, it's still kind of atrocious with these really nice sections that are like 2 to 5 minutes that look absolutely insane, and then it goes back to looking kind of atrocious. But that's the parts that I care about, you know. Like, I'm so like, when you read Wano finally, I'm gonna like show you the fucking Gear 5 fight, dude, because the animation in that shit is like absolutely insane. It's like some of the best animation I've ever seen, but that's the only time you'll ever see that kind of animation in One Piece. So
Fair enough, right? Like, normally I do think if you're going to watch a fight anime, fight manga, you should just watch the anime because visual spectacle. But with some of the things that you've shown me that are supposed to be like the intense moments, like, yeah, I think you should just read this one, buddy.
yeah,
it's hard out here for a bitch.
well, and like Dressrosa especially was really bad. Like, sometimes I'm like baffled that I managed to get through that, you know, because like the anime kind of was at its, I think, lowest point then, so there's a lot of like epic moments that just kind of don't look good. Thankfully, we're in a time now where any of the epic moments are the things that they're actually going to focus on. Right. So everything else kind of still looks bad, but the big moments, they look really good still, which is nice.
Fair enough. What I will say, as far as the the Riser reveal worked, I don't mind road poneglyphs existing conceptually, right? Like, you get the 4 of them, you mix them in a pot, you stir them all up, and you get the coordinates for the final, the end of the Grand Line, the island that only Roger's been to, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why we needed a subset of poneglyphs that were that. Like, I don't know why these are special. It just sort of seems like, okay, we've had our MacGuffin for so long that we need to MacGuffinize it again.
I mean, honestly, that's pretty much exactly it. Like, the poneglyphs were always supposed to be super important, and I highly doubt he thought of the red poneglyphs or the road poneglyphs until like post time skip.
Right.
Because like, it was going to be the poneglyphs that got you to the end no matter what. But then he was like, oh shit, I guess I need to like have there be specific poneglyphs so that they actually have a goal still.
Honestly,
because he was going on for so long, you know, just like Dressrosa was so fucking long, like all this shit that really wasn't towards the end goal, but it is kind of him bringing it back around and being like, okay, I guess I have to actually have an end goal again,
right?
You know. And
I think part of it is like, yeah, poneglyphs are supposed to be like these like big, mysterious, rare things. And then for like the past 6 islands, there's been 1 per island or some bullshit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Grand Line was specifically supposed to be where they were concentrated, you know? So they're rare, but they're rare to all the people that aren't going to be on the Grand Line.
That's fair. But also, like, now that we're in the new world, our handy dandy compass has 3 needles, each of which pointing to a new island.
Yeah.
The Straw Hats are just really guessing well, I guess. Because they've got a 2/3 chance to fuck it up.
There is a lot of this is the road that they have to go on because I said so as the author kind of deal.
DP.
He's hardcore railroading them.
The illusion of pirate choice. No, and then we get to Whole Cake Island. Whole Cake Island is an island consisting of cakes. It is also the center of Big Mom's power. Now, Big Mom is a weird character. Mostly because I feel like Oda's trying to present like she's made this like utopia. Look at how happy everybody is. Such a fairyland. Haha, talking chairs. The food talks while you eat it. That, I would starve. I would never eat again.
See, that's cannibalism.
Honestly, yeah, because they're sapient. But like, regardless... Oda's like Big Mom's presenting that. She wants a big family, emphasis on the big. But like, she's also unequivocally a terrible monster of a woman. It's like, oh, everything's fine until Big Mom just sort of flies off the handle, in which case people die.
Yeah.
Right? But even then, it's kind of not just fine, because to live there for every 6 years every 6 months, you get a month of your life sucked from you in like a donation thing. It's like a tithe to Big Mom, and she like uses that soul power to sort of do the thing that gives everything a face. I'm still not entirely sure why everything needs a face.
Yeah. Well, because it's supposed to be like Disney, bro, or something, I guess.
Or something. But, like, realistically, that means that, like, if you're born in a Big Mom territory, she's taking 15 years of your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely this fine line that's being drawn between, like, oh, is this a good thing? Or is this, like, a not great moral thing? On purpose, I think, because you still haven't really learned the brunt of Big Mom as a character, and you're gonna get it.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to her like big motivations, but like, yes, the construction of like, is this a worthwhile trade? Like, is this a good society? Like, it's almost like sort of presenting that like, what would you give up to be in a utopia, but also like, it's not a utopia.
Exactly.
Because Big Mom's running around randomly murdering hundreds of people at a time whenever she gets snackish.
Yeah.
So like, it loses a lot of its footing as a moral argument because of how cartoonishly villainous Big Mom is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Songi's getting married, which is to say, they were at Zoe after Jack attacked, and then Gang Capone shows up with Peckoms. For a second, I thought I was going to watch you die. That looked painful.
Well, because I hiccuped in the middle. And it probably looked like I was about to barf because I just hate Peckoms that much.
It looked a little bit like you were swallowing your own tongue.
No, it was just like, you know, when you hiccup in the middle of saying something.
Very painful. Anyway, Pikmin and Gang Capone show up to gather Sanji. Turns out his bounty was marked alive only because his family, a cabal of murderers, want him back to get married into Big Mom's pirates. And so it's kind of a, hey, do this or we're going to kill everybody. So he goes off to do the thing to get handled it. This arc is Sanji's arc, right? But there's a couple of things about it.
Getting situated.
Yes. I'm getting into a more ready position to speak directly into the mic to voice my objections. We're being told and not shown a lot of qualities of Sanji. For example, his sister talks about how he's always had such a big, kind heart. and everybody else is going, oh, Sanji's too kind-hearted to do this. When did we see this? When once were we, like, it's kind of like in Cyberpunk 2077, in Edge Runners, I was complaining that everybody was like, oh, David, you're too good to be an Edge Runner. And it's like, no, he's not. He hasn't done anything to show us that he's a good guy. Everybody in this arc goes, oh, Sanji's big heart. Sanji's so kind, so gentlemanly. And it's like, no, he's not. When has he done this? Maybe once or twice in the East Blue. But since then, we've spent dozens of volumes of him just being a pervert. And, like, it goes back to the bigger problem of Oda can't make his characters. He makes them comedy sticks that he thwips around a scene as he gets bored. And Sanji's a victim of that, right? Like, he doesn't have characterizing moments except for his joke until this arc. And even then, in this arc, like, we get his childhood flashback. Also, man, your dad lets you have 2 backgrounds? My dad only gives me 1 backstory. Come on.
Yeah, it is pretty funny.
Give me half of your background. Come on. Make it fair. Anyway. Blah, 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 blah. Dad's an abusive, evil, megamaniacal asshole. Mom's a genuinely okay person. Sanji's a soft little boy who just wants to be a soft little boy. Although we see his encyclopedia of devil fruits in this flashback, which means he wanted the invisible fruit since the age of like 4 to be a pervert. This man was a pervert before puberty.
I guess.
That's a yikes from me, dog.
I mean, I feel like there's so much to unpack there. Because, like, I think that Sanji has been a very good person throughout the series. Like, granted, he has those moments where he is not so great and definitely has his flaws. But, like, he's a flawed character, and I think that's kind of important, you know, whether or not you hate his gag or not, which, I mean, like, I'm not a fan of it either. I've never really been a fan of it. But, like, I mean, Sanji, the times where Sanji has always shined are, like, when he's on his own, and he always kind of, like, saves the day or something. I mean, like, I remember especially loving, like, the Mr. Prince stuff during Alabasta, where he's just, like, he's kind of on his own, and he kind of, like, fucks with Crocodile in his own way, and then ends up, you know, saving everyone. We've always known that Sanji's whole ideal is, like, I can't harm women, like, women are, like, the most important thing to me. And that's a fine thing, and I do believe that Oda kind of let that just get out of hand as the series went on, and especially post-time skip. But I think that all of the groundwork is there strong enough for, like, this to... for, like, the characters in this arc, you know, to talk about Sanji's, like, you know, positive aspects and, like, have it land. I mean, it landed for me personally. Yeah, I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. Like,
don't get me wrong. His big emotional scenes, there's like 1.5, 2 of them that I've gotten to so far. They're very good scenes. But along the way, people are talking him up in all of these ways that I just don't feel like we've seen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. Again, his moments are very good, right? The 2 in particular that I'm thinking, or the 3, I guess, that I'm thinking about is he's being carted off in his, like, murder cabal family's little cart to the holding cell / like visitors room that he's going to be in before his fake wedding.
Like, it's true, but it's just, I don't know, it's just so funny when you just refer to them as just the murder cabal family.
Germa 66.
Like, that's literally what it is. You can keep calling it that, but it just keeps making me laugh.
Yeah. Well, also, like, there's like a full spread where like the family that San Sanji is sitting around talking about their evil domination plan, and it's like one step away, like one step removed from like Nazi symbolism. Just like like the fucking giant Aryan eagle, the banners, like,
Oh yeah.
like that's
No, they're definitely like a fascist government. Like that's the whole point. I mean, they're kind of a government, I guess. He's basically
they're formally recognized as a government.
yeah, they're
But
like an independent
they're saying
army
this is
too.
probably the last revelry that they'll be invited to.
Yeah.
It's okay. Conceptually, I really like the nation at sea not being like an island or a or like something like that, but a flotilla of snails that lock together. And so when they're together, they're this nation, and then otherwise they're just these independently floating battleships. I think that's really neat. However,
Yeah, see, Oda has cool ideas.
oh, Oda's a great idea, man. As far as writing characters to be human beings, man. God, speak about cartoonishly evil. Sanji's family literally has comic books about them.
Yeah.
Now that I think about the term, yeah, they're all murderers for hire. Like they just go around being wartime profiteers, or just being wartime mercenaries. I forget why I was bringing them up. Oh,
Sorry, I mean, you were talking about the like nation at sea flotilla.
no, before that, Sanji's 3 moments, right?
Oh, yeah.
So far that I really like was Luffy and Nami battle their way to him. Oh, speaking of, another example of why the crew's too goddamn big. Oda had to split the crew into 4s this time. Oh, there are too many of them, and we're adding more in the form of furry bait. It's Doobie Wilden. But it works
she's gonna be a
because
straw hat, bro.
Bunny girl, bro.
She's gonna be a straw hat. I promise.
Also, minks can just sort of materialize electricity.
Yeah.
Kind of cracked.
There's some shit going on with the minks, like deep lore shit with the Void Sentry that we still don't know. So anyway, his 3 major moments. We keep getting distracted.
3 major moments. He's being carted off to his like visitation, like this is the bridegroom suite. Stay here before your wedding. Surrounded by his evil ass family, Luffy and Nami battle their way to him, and Luffy's like, "All right, dumbass, get your ass back on the boat. We found you." In his Luffy way, and everybody, like all of Sanji's family's like, "All right, let's kill this guy." And Sanji's like, no, I'll handle it. And then you remember how during Water 7, when Robin turned evil to drive the Straw Hats away for their protection, that was a very powerful moment.
Yeah.
Well, we do that again. Like beat for beat.
Yeah.
We do that again. Except this time we get the context for why Sanji's doing it before we actually see it happen. With Robin, we just didn't know, right, until later.
Yeah, I think that's what made Robin so good, is like it was like a true mystery, you know? Like we didn't know anything about her backstory. We didn't know anything about who she was really at that point. Yeah. You know, so it all felt like, oh shit. But yeah, Sanji's been around for so fucking long. It's like, he's not really gonna leave. We know that.
Right. Well, and like we see the instigating moment where Capone's like, all right, come with us or we kill all of them.
Yeah.
And so he's like, all right, I guess I'm. So like from
that
the get-go, we know what's up.
But I mean, that part's pretty good because it does give Sanji legitimate motivations, I think, to do it, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And that was like the moment that I wasn't really counting as one of his good moments, because while it is an interesting moment, we have seen it done strictly better with another crew member.
Yeah. I agree.
A brief aside about this moment, Sanji's kicking the shit out of Luffy because Luffy's doing his like not fight back thing. Even in Sanji's own arc, so far he has been kind of made to look inept. Like he kicks the crap out of like Mooks and like random dudes, but like he can't beat his brothers. He can't beat his dad. And granted, while he was fighting his dad, soldiers around them were going, oh, damn, and this dude's not even wearing a super special bad guy suit. He's this strong without a super special bad guy suit? It was like, okay, yeah, maybe, but he still got his ass kicked. Guys are like, you're telling me that he's strong, but you're showing me him being weak, right?
Yeah.
And we're not making Dad seem strong. We're making Sanji seem weak. Even in this moment where he's beating up Luffy, he's giving Luffy his best shots, and Luffy's just talking through it.
Yeah, Luffy takes it all, which is I don't know how I feel about that. I've never really felt super strongly, but it is like Luffy really didn't take serious damage, and like I don't know how you could have written it so that he did, but like he wasn't like on the verge of death or anything after fucking Sanji brought his leg like literally right down on top of his head.
Yeah, Sanji,
like that would be like a kill shot.
Sanji was throwing out moves that are banned in the UFC. Like straight up. Oh, also shout outs to Chopper canonically confirming that the only thing on Sanji's bookshelf is pornography.
Wait, really?
Jeesh, everything on Sanji's bookshelf is full of naked people. While they're looking to see if they can cook a fish that they just caught. Which turns out they can't. And the only reason that matters is because Luffy is poisoned. And the only reason that matters is so that Sanji's sister can save him by kissing the poison out of him. What?
I mean, we know Oda's horny, so
Luffy's had a lot of waifus throw themselves at him in the last couple of arcs.
Yeah.
It's weird. The other scene. So Sanji is doing all of this to protect everybody, right? And like Chef Zeph is like being held, basically being held pseudo hostage by his family. He's like, all right, don't you fucking leave or we're going to kill the Straw Hats and we're going to kill this guy. You like this guy, right? So Sanji's sort of like resigned himself to the wedding. And his bride-to-be, Pudding, is sort of like, oh no, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. This isn't fair to you. I'm so sorry to be like the avenue through which this is all being brought up to you. And Sanji basically goes, well, my life's going to suck because I'm giving up on my dreams to save all of these people, but I can't not save all of these people. So I might as well not make Pudding feel bad and start acting like myself again so that she doesn't feel like she's making me sad. And that was a good moment. And so he starts cooking. He makes like some flowers and he's going to like give her this like food because he noticed that she missed the last meal. And so like he's going in for this very tender, like, all right, this is a sham wedding, but I'm going to like, there's no reason for me to be mean to this woman. And he finds her with his sister strapped to a chair going, all right, so we're going to kill all of you guys tomorrow. Just so you know, that's happening. And Pudding's giving this big bad evil guy speech. She has like a Triclops situation going on. And apparently that's part of some bloodline. I'm sure it will crop up later.
Someday. Hasn't.
We also find out that Pudding has... I forget what it's called, but it's the wipe your memory fruit.
Yeah, I think it literally is just like the memo fruit or something.
Memo, that's what it is. You're so far away. I hit you once last week, and now you're so far away that I can't
staying away.
And so she just like cuts that part of his sister's memory wheel out. But Sanji was upstairs, was like on the balcony seeing this because he was there to deliver shit to her. Also, Sanji's 5'11". Sanji's a normal human height.
Yeah, he's like my height. I'm a little shorter, like an inch.
But there's this moment where he's like just like listening to her talk about how much she's duped him. And so he's outside in the rain trying, like just dead faced, trying to smoke. It's not lighting. And he he starts crying.
I think that's one of the strongest moments for
this
me.
is Sanji's first good moment, is when he's in tears in the balcony.
Yeah, but like him like trying to light the lighter, but it's raining. It's just so fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah. Shout outs to this arc almost making me like Brooke.
See, I told you, bro. I told you.
I said almost.
I know, almost.
Don't you dare.
But I don't think there can be it does, because you already hate him enough.
Well, no, it's if he dropped the panty thing, bro.
I agree.
I would put up with the shitty jokes. If it was just the shitty jokes, I would like Brooke. But if he dropped the panty thing, that would be fine.
Exactly.
Brooke, there are a couple of great moments from Brooke here. Back on Zoe, pretty much everybody, when they figure out that little shit stain is like a daimyo, everybody immediately has a big reaction. In Nami's was to basically like start kind of grooming him.
Grooming? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Brooke is the only person who just goes, all right, let's not seduce the child. Like, he doesn't directly say that, but he does say in the corner, not that I approve of your approach either, talking to Nami. He was initially criticizing Luffy for fighting with a 4-year-old because in his very Luffy way, Luffy was fighting with a 4-year-old. But the other thing that I really liked out of Brooke is back when they thought they needed to keep the samurai out of Zoe, Brooke, Frankie, and Robin are standing at like where they know that they're going to show up, like the entry to the kingdom. And it's those three. And Brooke goes, all right, so the adults have to make sure. And just, yeah, those are the 3 adults. Yeah. And then lo and behold, they all fall asleep and they get in anyway. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
but yeah, my point literally was just like, Brooke shines in Whole Cake Island, and it is literally because of what we have already stated. Oda cuts the fucking crew in half, so like Brooke actually has to be a character, you know?
Yeah,
like he has
to contribute.
He has room to contribute, which is nice, you know. And yeah, it, like I said, I'm glad that it at least made you laugh. Like, I knew it wasn't gonna like 100% change your perspective on Brooke, but like at least we can agree that he gets to shine in Whole Cake for real this time.
Hell, he holds his own against Big Mom for a while.
Did you already see the line where he's like, I gotta deal with this young woman or something, or this young lady or something like that? Yeah,
he calls Big Mom a young lady. So he snuck in while Jaguar Man, who we hadn't met before, we're probably not going to meet again, it distracts him, and he like gets an etching of the poneglyphs that Big Mom has. Big Mom has one of the road poneglyphs.
Oh, were you talking about Pedro?
Yes.
Yeah. I forgot.
Yeah, I was about to say, point, we're probably never going to see him again.
Pedro's pretty good. You haven't gotten to his moment yet, but
I kind of have. I got to him going to blow himself up.
Oh, wait, you already got to that?
Yeah. I know everything about Pedro. He was a pirate with Pikmin, and he like lost 50 years to Big Mom because his partner crossed her, and then he spun her big wheel, and it was like 100 years. But then his partner only had 30 left, and then Pikmin said, please don't. He's like a brother to me, and then she knocked it down 10, and then he tore out his eye so that she'd knock it down another 10.
Yeah. Okay, for some reason I thought that this was like a later that he was going to blow himself up.
Shoutouts to Horny Oda, by the way. Fucking Lady Dimitrescu just absolutely groping Nami. Granted, it's because Nami has Big Mom's Verve card. So the Verve card that she got from Lola back in Thriller Bark, turns out Lola's Big Mom's daughter. So it's Big Mom's Verve card. And Nami is keeping it in her bazungas. Granted, that's a thing that people do, right? Like,
yeah,
it's a natural pocket. So it makes sense. But it is very much one of those, we didn't have to watch Big Samurai Mommy dig around for it. She'd already captured Nami. She could just have it in the next scene.
Yeah.
But I digress. Shout outs to General Smoothie, who is perpetuating the no, yes stereotype of consent, which is contributing to a culture that doesn't allow for true consent, and it's very disgusting.
Wait, what are we talking about in context to Smoothie?
So, I don't know what Smoothie's powers are, but people are giving away backstory, and we have this like shout in the corner begging General Smoothie to stop. And then we see that what she's doing is she's wringing like the juice out of this woman who's telling her to stop up until the very end, where she goes, "Oh."
Oh, yeah.
It's the no, yes sort of thing that you'll see in porn a lot. That's not consent. It's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. And then, of course, Sanji's other, like Sanji's last big moment is the "I want to be back at the funny," which is his version of Robin going, "I want to live," but
not as good.
Not as good. Partially because he's had 2 of these this arc. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like this is one of those things where it's like, does it though? Because like this is a panel of Brooke staring down Big Mom shouting, "His kindness knows no bounds," and it's like, does it though?
I mean, but has Sanji ever actually injured people?
Yeah.
That were innocent?
I mean, no, but that doesn't separate him from most of the Straw Hats, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially recently when Sanji's like being mean to men. Like on Punk Hazard, he's like actively like he's kind of getting tsundere towards smokers, like men. And like on Mink Island, he's like, "Ooh, they snuggle to show thanks. I'm going to snuggle all of the women." And then the men are like, "We want to say thank you too." And he tells them to fuck off, right? Like recently, especially, Sanji's been used as a calamity character so much that any of his like kindness that we did get introduced to, it was a while ago. And he's kind of just been a tool recently. Jinbei's back. And I actually got really excited, and I didn't think I'd be excited.
I love Jinbei, bro. Jinbei is like fantastic to me. And he has very little flaws. IMO. Just like as a character.
Fair enough. Also, shout outs to one of the more egregious shower scenes. I know that I talk about this every time that we read something, but like, this is like 4 pages of Nami and Carrot showering while talking to Capone's wife, who's fully clothed, which is evidence that this scene could have been done fully clothed. But more than other shower scenes that Oda has done, there is a sparsity of covering. Like, they've been bad before, but what is this? What is this?
I mean, it's horny. That's what it is.
They're horny. So yeah, they meet up with Capone because they're going to crash the wedding. So Capone joined Big Mom's crew, and Jinbei figures out through Pikmin that it's to fuck her up. We'd also seen briefly that Kaido is a drunk, and that Kaido had fucked up Eustace Kid. But no, like, Sanji, maybe by the end of Whole Cake, he'll have like a real like, all right, this is my guy again moments. But I've said it before, as a kid, Sanji was my favorite character, right? Like, and maybe 4 Kids did some more censoring of his behavior.
I mean, probably.
As well as his smoking. But like, I don't know how the mighty has fallen.
Yeah.
The more screen time Sanji gets, the more Oda doesn't know what to do with him. And so he defaults on the joke. Whole Cake's been nice so far because he's got to have serious opinions that matter and that impact what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very upset when we save his siblings. His sister, they kind of gave a redemption to because she can't not follow an order from her dad, but she does have emotions, so she does feel bad about being a mass murderer.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a... It's interesting to say the least.
But then they confirmed that his 3 brothers. So Sanji is the son of a Ichni Sanchu, or whatever 4 is.
Yon.
Ichni Son Yon.
Yeah, Yonji is the.
There was
one.
4 of them born on the same day. And Sanji's mom poisoned herself to try to stop the genetic modification from robbing them of their emotions. And the only one that she was successful on was Sanji. Oh, yeah, Sanji's dad's genetically modifying his kids. By the way. He's also cloning people.
Yeah, no, he has 0 morals. I'll put it down.
And he says it proudly all the time. Like the whole point of Garma 6 is that they conquered the North Blue ages ago through military might and technology. And so since then, they just sort of been doing that. So they've got these raid suits. We don't really know that much about them yet, but we do know that they're fully tank growing people to the age of 20 in about 5 years. And they're all just like clone soldier styles, like copies of Mandalorians, basically. And that's most of the citizens of the nation.
Yeah.
Which is...
because it is just a military. It's like not really, I guess. It is a nation, but it's a military nation. That's about it.
Yeah. And so why their status is getting revoked
they don't need women and children because they're just clones.
Yeah, it's really yucky. Yeah, I don't know. It's been interesting.
Yeah, because I guess for some reason, when I was confused about the Pedro scene, like, I was confused. I mean, I know where you're at, but, like, I always forget how much shit happens before, like, Luffy finally meets Gang Beige. Like, all the shit with, like... Is that, like, Pedro was going to blow himself up so that they could get away, like, after Luffy and Nami were captured? Is that right?
Nope. He was just fighting guys to create a distraction for Brook.
Okay.
And he, like, basically, like, squared up and, like, met his match. And so he's like, all right, there's a lot of you here. They're going to be dealing with this for a while. Bandoliers of dynamite. And then they save him by going through a mirror.
Oh, okay. So he's alive still. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does he actually blow himself up in the next 4 or 5 volumes?
You'll see, yeah.
So basically he goes, no. I said I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And granted, he's got, like, no time left.
And that's what I was confused about. Yeah, like, because, yeah, that happens in the final part of the... But, yeah, them meeting Gang Beige was pretty funny.
Gang Beige's son. Can we just stop and talk about Gang Beige's son?
He's got, like, fucking...
He's got his dad's head to a T, but instead of a cigar, it's like a pacifier that's shaped like a cigar on the bit that you're supposed to, like, use to pull out of the kid's mouth.
It's pretty good.
And he has his dad's stubble of a mustache.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So far, Whole Cake's been... It's been... Oh, fuck. It's been. Right? Because, like... The good moments have been very great, right? Like, Brook gets a cool moment. Sanji gets a cool moment.
But isn't that all of One Piece?
I mean...
The good moments have been really great.
Honestly, a lot of the good moments have just been okay. But, like, what makes Whole Cake better than a lot of the other arcs is even the bad moments are just boring. Because the bad moments so far are just, here's all of the exposition we've never given you before.
Yeah.
For 5 pages. Then you're like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay. The plot, though. Okay. Oh, God. The plot. Okay. I don't care about Capone's wife's relationship with Big Mom. And I don't know why she's telling me her relationship with her mother while Nami has her tits out.
That's a thing that happened. There's a lot more to talk about with Whole Cake, but
I'm
think
excited.
It's good that we're splitting it into 2 episodes.
I imagine shit's gonna, like, kick off soon. And by imagine, I mean, like, it can't not.
And I have mixed feelings about the end of Whole Cake Island. But I can say for certain, I do think Whole Cake Island is one of those arcs that Oda was like, oh shit, I need Luffy to get stronger before he fights Kaido. Here's another arc in between so that he can fight some big bads. Because once again, Oda kind of set himself up to fail with Kaido by being like, he's the strongest creature in the world. No one can beat him. And then you're like, well, Luffy's got to beat him. So how is Luffy going to beat him?
And that really is like that vibe of Oda going, oh God, here's another arc. You could not have hit the nail on the head more, because everything that kicks off Whole Cake Island happens off screen and they're told about in flashback by Nami.
Yeah. So
like it happened a week ago, canonically.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right.
But I mean, that is the stuff that they did, while the Straw Hats were in Dressrosa. So it's like, but see, like that is the thing, is like I feel like Dressrosa and Whole Cake Island work because both of them split the crew partially. And then
there are too many.
I mean, like, dude, Wano, I am like, I don't even know how you're gonna feel about Wano, because Wano is like the epitome of like, oh my God, like everyone's just here and Oda doesn't know what the fuck to do with all of them because there's too many characters that have to have moments,
right? And like when the gang's all here minus Sanji in Zoe, Trafalgar's also there. Trafalgar doesn't say a damn word until the end.
Yeah. Well, because, Law is kind of around because he just ends up around, and then luckily he gets a road poneglyph out of the deal. Like he's just kind of there, and then since he's friends with Straw Hat now, he just kind of gets a new road poneglyph, whereas he probably would have never. Like, there's no way he could have gotten that thing, Well, and like they talk again about how, oh, Robin, you're in so much danger because you know how to read these. And she's like, yep. But also look at my friends, I'll be fine. Yeah, I like that moment.
Yeah, I like it a lot. As far as the Raizo thing goes, just to backtrack a little bit, I liked the moment. I don't like Raizo.
No, I mean, I don't like Raizo either. Bro, I'm going to have lots of hot takes because I just don't give a shit about any of the samurai. And I mean, that really doesn't change.
So far, it's hard to care about any of the three that we know. A quick shout out to Frankie striking a cool guy pose and going, every man loves ninjas in his heart. Because Luffy, Usopp, and Chopper are like, oh, you're a ninja, do a ninja thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the fuck are you on about? And Frankie's like, how dare you? Every man loves ninjas.
Yeah. I think that's a good place.
I don't know. I'm excited for where we're going to go, and I hope I'm not disappointed by the ending of Whole Cake.
We shall see. We shall see.